Good morning. My name is Megan Edwards of Focus Communications, and today we're getting an update from Prosper Gold, which trades on the Toronto Venture Stock Exchange under the symbol PGX. And joining me this morning is Prosper Gold's VP Exploration, Rory Ritchie. Rory, thanks for your time today. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Good morning, Megan.
So the company recently announced the acquisition of the Mohave Gold Project in Arizona. Can you reintroduce the project to our audience?
Yes, I sure can. The Mohave Gold Project, situated in northwest Arizona, in the Mohave County. That's the namesake. Just under 1,200 hectares. Prosper has the option to earn 100% interest in 160 mining claims. And it's a large, robust, low sulfidation epithermal gold with a little bit of silver system. Covers an area about 4 by 1.5 kilometers. Notably, it hasn't been drilled since 1995. All the modern exploration was completed between 1975 and 1995. And also, importantly, the average depth of the drilling in those years was 37.5 meters. So just over 600 holes, but all very short, just exploring for near surface, in most cases, oxide resources. It is permitted. It recently was delivered a pretty significant permit known as an exploration plan of operations. So the project is permitted for up to 600 drill sites and up to 27 kilometers of road. So big project, ready to be drilled. Hasn't been drilled in a long time, circumstantial, but Prosper's quite excited to get drilling this year. It's a multi-phase epithermal gold system. Looking here, these are all pictures across the project of mineralized breccias cut by, in most cases, banded quartz calcite plus or minus chalcedony veins. So for these multi-phase, breccias, veins, and veins, breccias, it's a long-lived system. This is conducive to high-grade mineralization, and the fact that it persists, these kind of mineralization styles persist across the project. Bodes well for high grade and the exploration potential in the project. So that's certainly something that caught our eye right out of the gate. It has a pretty extensive history of small scale mining, anywhere from little adits on some of the prospects to modest or decent sized open pit mine at the Klondyke pit, and the Dixie Queen mine in the lower right there was a pretty significant underground operation back around kind of the World War II era. So lots of workings, about 41 of them on the project, of various sizes, but they're spread across the whole area. As mentioned, just under 1,200 hectares. Project it's about 3.5 by 5 kilometers, and it's really can be divided into 3 mineralized trends. The Dixie Trend in the south. That has about 26 abandoned mine workings, and that includes the Dixie Queen mine. It's a pretty significant operation. Never been drilled, not a single drill hole down there. So I'll be talking to the exploration potential there. In the central portion of the project, the Klondyke Trend, that's where the historical Klondyke open pit mine exists, and the Golden Door Trend in the north. Again, a number of historical workings, about 6 abandoned mine workings. A fair amount of drill holes there, but all quite shallow, averaging about 34 meters. So it's a fair-sized project. There's gold mineralization north to south, east to west, lots of exploration potential, and again, permitted for the first time. So we're gearing up to drill it in 2023.
And one thing that stood out to me is the high-grade gold results throughout the project area. Can you discuss a few of these and perhaps an overview of the preliminary targets on the property?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there is a lot of widespread high grade. The modern exploration was targeting lower grade type stuff, open pittable oxide gold, or near surface. But yes, certainly the past producers in the small scale mining historically has been chasing high grade. Some of the recent channel sampling completed in 2020 at the Klondyke came up with 78 grams over 1.5 meters. But the Golden Door, 18.3 grams over 2 meters, down in the Dixie, 15.8 grams over 4 meters. So there is high grade, and it does exist in all 3 of these trends. So specifically, the targets themselves, the Dixie Trend, as mentioned in the south, no drilling, which always boggles my mind. There's 27 abandoned mine workings, ranging from small adits to probably the largest being the Dixie Queen. The Dixie Queen underground operation there. It's subvertical down here. It's a little different than the central and northern portions of the project where the veins are closer to subhorizontal. So down here, subvertical vein system, quartz calcite plus or minus adularia and chalcedony, covers an area of about 1.8 kilometers by a kilometer. And within that trend, you have widespread, highly anomalous golden soils and mineralized rock at surface. Some of the soil samples, 3.7 grams per ton in soil, 2.7 in soil. But really any pink dot you see on the map is above a gram in soil. So pretty significant tenor and size to the soil anomaly, and none of it's been tested with the drill bit. Examples of some of the mineralization of the project. So here I've taken, these are all areas sampled in 2020, showing pictures of the various, the six small scale past producing prospects in this area. Top left, the Jamie prospect. So that's really the northeastern kind of extent of the Dixie Trend. Grab sampling recently up to 20 grams. The Cottonwood prospect would be the southern extent, 34 grams in grab samples. And again, these are all quartz calcite plus or minus adularia and chalcedony veins. And then the Dixie Mine prospect, half a meter at 9.2 grams. And that's the picture in the top right. What's important there to take away is the subvertical or at least moderately dipping nature of the veins here. So it is different than the rest of the project. It could be why there's been no historical drilling, but for us that's immediate upside at depth and laterally. So we like the fact that the veins down there are a little steeper dipping. Central portion of the project, the Klondyke Trend. So the Klondyke mine was probably the biggest as far as tonnage, the historical producer. There's been a bunch of drilling, that was most of which was in the 90s, 373 historical drill holes, but again, shallow, an average depth of 43 meters. So that was predominantly RC and rotary air blast drilling whereby they were trying to delineate near surface oxide resources, and they built a heap leach pad and stuff. They wanted to go in and mine and pay for exploration, but that's always tough for a small junior. Covers about a 1 by 1 kilometer area, and again, it is quartz calcite plus or minus adularia chalcedony veins. And here they're both subhorizontal, predominantly subhorizontal, but also subvertical in areas of the project. The interpretation of the recent geologic mapping is that this is a kind of a coherent low sulfidation system that's been rotated during extension about 15, 16 million years ago, and is now almost completely on its side. And that does seem to hold up with the alteration mapping, whereby you have higher temperature sericite, quartz, pyrite in the eastern portion of this area. And then in the far west, you have a pretty significant area of intense clay hematite alteration. Not necessarily mineralized at surface out there, but that could be the higher level expression of this overall system. Some of the examples of gold mineralization on the Klondike Trend, the lower left there, that's the southern wall of the Klondike historical Klondike pit. So there in one of the benches, channel sample 3 meters at just under 42 grams. In the top left, you see one of these multi-phase breccias that have been cut by banded quartz calcite adularia plus or minus chalcedony veins, 3 meters at 5 grams. And down in the bottom right, the Apex prospect, that's about 500 meters within the same trend, considered to be in the same trend, but about 500 meters north. Grab samples up to 14 grams. And then the upper right shows an example of some of the more subvertical veining that you can see at the North Klondike. And those veins are also mineralized, a meter at 8 grams up there. Up in the north, the Golden Door Trend, similar to the Klondike in the sense that they're subhorizontal, predominantly subhorizontal quartz calcite plus or minus chalcedony adularia veins up there. 6 abandoned mine workings, just over 200 drill holes trying to delineate near surface resources. But again, these are very shallow holes, and there's not a single core hole up here. So those holes averaged about 34 meters. Covers an area 1.5 kilometers by 1 kilometer. Most of these prospects have been drilled. They've all been historically mined, with the exception, as far as drilling, the Red Gap, the northwestern corner there. That's a pretty significant golden soil anomaly. There's a past producing mine there. widespread rock, mineralized rock over, I think, about 600, 500 meters, and never been drilled there. So that's some immediate fresh upside in this portion of the project. But generally, all of these zones are open to expansion. Certainly at depth, if you can find some paralleling vein systems. Again, kind of what we see in the rest of the project: quartz calcite veins, breccias here and there, and plus or minus adularia and chalcedony in those later veins. Some of the examples of mineralization in the upper right, that's the Jim and Jerry prospect. That's pretty close to the eastern extent of this trend. Chip samples in 2020 yielded 2 meters at 10.5 grams. The Scout prospect is more central in this trend, 2.1 meters at, I believe it's 14 grams. And a different example of mineralization, perhaps a little later in the evolution of the system, but mineralized nonetheless, is the Red Gap prospect. That's that picture in the lower left, 1.6 meter channel sample at 8.9 grams. So again, a variety of mineralization styles, but generally consistent with the theme of this multi-phase epithermal gold system. So that lends itself to high grade.
And you mentioned that the historic holes are all very shallow, averaging only 37.5 meters depth. Any idea why they tested so close to surface and in some cases bottomed in mineralization?
Yeah, as mentioned, the previous operator, which was I think from about 1990 to 1995, where the vast majority of that drilling was done, they were trying to delineate near surface oxide resources, and I think I touched on that. They built a heap leach pad. They had they'd purchased some milling equipment, conveyor belts, and they're ready to essentially truck and shovel, scoop it out of the ground near surface and dump it on the heap leach pad. So that's the main reason they were drilling shallow holes, because they were targeting oxide gold mineralization that's easy to scoop up and put in the heap leach pad. But not a lot of really what you would consider systematic modern exploration, certainly with the drilling. The mapping, the geochemistry, the geophysics is all up to snuff. But the drilling, certainly a lot of these holes are bottoming mineralization, in some cases some high grade. So that's the immediate upside for the company, kind of taking some of these zones to depth.
And to wrap things up, could you give us a quick summary of why investors should take notice of this acquisition by Prosper?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a significant acquisition in our minds. It's a heck of a project. It's underexplored, and that's pretty circumstantial based on the individual circumstances for each of the prior operators. But now that the permit is in hand, and Prosper, all these targets are worked up for the most part. We have to do a little bit of groundwork, but no, this is a big acquisition for the company. It kind of supplements our Golden Sidewalk project in the sense that we can now comfortably explore year round in northwestern Ontario. You're kind of in the middle of the summer or the middle of winter, but those shoulder seasons are tough, and that's easier to explore during those times in northwest Arizona. And so, yeah, as far as Prosper Gold, we hope to drill both of these projects this year. We still have our best targets that we've been working up over the last couple of years to be drilled at the Skinner target on the Golden Sidewalk project, and the Mohave. We still have to finalize drill locations, but we have a pretty good idea of where we want to start. And yeah, that should be exciting because there's a lot of gold there, again, some of which has never been drilled. So, other than that, tight share structure still, only 32 million shares. Management owns a significant amount of that stock. And it should be a big year. Gold's priced high, and we got some good assets in hand.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time today, Rory, and we look forward to having you back on again soon.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Megan.